Let's talk about for loops, which is part of the control flow statements. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with for loops because we talked about if and else. Okay, all right, so the for loops, I'm going to go ahead and do what I do best, which is comment all of this out. By the way, if you want to comment out, Control Z here, if you want to multi-line comment things out, you easily could just go ahead and say / asterisk, and then you have to close it by asterisk and / As you can see, it all is coming out just like what I did at the top here. See? So this is multi-line comments, which means anything inside here is not going to be picked up by the compiler, or rather it will be picked up but it will be ignored. Okay, but also you notice what I do really is if you comment everything up and you say command and / then everything is commented out. Okay, the small things that are helpful. Okay, so let's talk about for loops. So for loop essentially allows us to create a block of code that we want to continuously go through and do things inside of it. Meaning, so if we want to, for instance, make it so that we can print the same thing or something different 10 times, we could go and say print, and whatever we want to print, we put inside here, right? We can say hello, and copy this 10 times, and keep doing until we can't anymore. So this is obviously not very time efficient, and it's not the best way for us, the best use of our time, right? So computers need to do certain things repeatedly under certain conditions. So that's when we use a for loop. Okay, so easily we can say for, that is the key word, and now just like the if statements, we have parentheses here. So the parentheses say that we need to add a few things for our for loop to work. Okay, to create our for loop, we have to first create a variable here. I'm going to say var I. I'm going to set it to 0. So usually you could say int, but we're going to start with just a general variable. And I'm going to say semicolon, and then I'm going to set the range. I'm going to say for y is less than, say, 10. What I want to do, I want to just go ahead and increment our I variable. Okay, and then we have the enclosing brackets there. So what this do then inside here, what we can do actually is we can then do whatever we want to repeat as long as this condition here holds true. Okay, so here's what happens. Let's put a print statement here. I'm going to say hello, and because we know how to append things now, I'm going to just go ahead and append the I. Okay, so what's going to happen here, the first time it's going to go through, I is 0. So I is going to say hello. So we're going to print hello 0. The second time, I is now 1. So I is less than 10. Yes. So meaning I is less than 10. That still holds true, which means we then increment the I by 1. This plus means we are incrementing the variable I, which now this is going to be 1, and goes until this doesn't hold true. Until I, in this case, if it's 10, when we get to 10 is less than 10. That's not true. That's when our for loop breaks. Okay, so that is the logic behind a for loop. Let's go ahead and give a run here quick. You can see it says hello 0, 1 through 9. Why does it go through 9? Well, because we said by the time that gets to the 10 time, 10 is not less than 10. That's why we don't get to 10. All right, so 0 through 9. Now, here is the beauty. Remember we talked about the module or the remainder. What if we say, okay, as we go through this loop, we want to only print hello and append all the numbers that are multiple of 2, which means they are divisible by 2, right? In this range, 0 through 10. So I can say if I percentage or module 2 is equal to 0, and then only then will I then print this hello and append the I, which means in this case going to be just numbers that are divisible by 2. What this means is, okay, the first time around 0 divided by 2 is 0 because 0 times 2 is 0, right? So this will work, so we should see 0. So 0 is indeed a multiple of pretty much anything, all right? So this will run. So the second time it goes to 1. So 1 remainder 2, is it going to be 0? Let's see. 1 divided by 2 is going to be 0, and then remainder is 1. So this is not going to be happen. So 1 is not multiple of 2. And it's going to go through until our condition here doesn't hold true anymore. Okay, enough talking. Let's run this and take a look. And voila. So like I said, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. You see now the beauty here? So you can start doing a lot of complicated things here. Let's say if I want this to actually be divisible by 3, if the remainder is 0, so any number that is indeed multiple or divisible by 3. Let's see if that's what's going to happen. Look now, 0, 3, 6, 9. What we can also do is all sort of things. Let's say if I say var here and I say fruit is equal to mango, like that, I could actually change this and say fruit like that, and I'm going to append the I. So all sort of small things that we can do. We can say mango 0, mango 3, 6, 9, and so forth. Okay, so this is indeed a for loop. All right, so go ahead and play around with the for loop if this is the first time, and you will see it's really quite fun. It's amazing the things that you can actually do. All right, perfect. I'll see you next.